Okay, so, it's story time again. I'm doing this on purpose. If you haven't looked it up, I'm sorry. To anybody who is genuinely interested and doesn't know what's going on or just heard rumors about shit or looking into shit or perhaps you're experiencing the same shit yourself. Um, Me flipping people off right there, I'm not addressing you. To people that know directly about this shit, to people that are enabling directly about this shit, and all the other pieces of crap out there. Yep, that's for y'all because y'all can suck it. But I posted two videos back to back almost. I was at work when I got the message from one of the guys from the military, the third one that messaged me or posted a comment on my shit. My Facebook is public for a reason. My Facebook is public so all the flying monkeys can see what they want to see. I did not go private on it for a reason. I was aware that they were going to be watching and monitoring and looking for things no matter what. I thought, you know what? They can already see what they can see. They can already do what they can do, and they have way too much different ways of having access to things that they shouldn't. Um, when I go into details, which I haven't quite gone into details about this, I'm gonna drop a bomb on you. How would you feel like if a pedophile got hired by a government agency, multiple of them, and were able to have contact with your child with or without your knowledge, give or take what kind of person you are, and have access to them in the most foul, disgusting ways? Consider it like having your teenager get on a website and get in contact unknowingly with a pedophile, except it's like 10 times worse. And when I go into details on what they can and cannot do, it's really fucking bad. As far as can't, I have yet to figure out anything they can't. Um, but could you imagine that? A world like that where pedophiles get hired by people like that specifically for this? Specifically because they're able to get away. They are willing to go there. Um, I think I'm theorizing. I could be wrong that some have deluded themselves so bad on this that they refuse to accept that their sadistic behavior counts as a sexual drive where they derive sexual pleasure from it on some level that they don't want to. I call it them stocking up on foreplay. That's the way I count it. Like they take so much pleasure out of it. They're enjoying it. They're sadistic. They're nasty. They're horrible people. And basically, when they finally get into relationships themselves or start having sex, whether they know it or acknowledge it or not, maybe they do, maybe they don't, they have stocked up on so much fucking foreplay from the pleasure of what they've done and been doing and continue to do. I know it sounds weird and maybe I sound like I don't make sense to people. I know these people would say I don't make sense. But due to sadistic natures and the way people are, you're talking about harming children and doing sexual acts to children or having children do sexual acts to each other and taking pleasure in it. Um, Stocking up on it for a way of humiliating them later on down the line to keep reiterating it and bringing it up as a form of humiliation, as a form of causing pain consistently over and over again, so that they can take pleasure in it. If they're taking pleasure in it, they're taking pleasure in it. So you're supposed to say, well, they're supposed to be on a sexual level where they get horny and whatnot. Do you think every person that is that way, especially if they're like committing murder or whatnot, do do you think that they have a heart on every time they're doing it? I wouldn't know. I doubt it. I doubt in the moment it's not exactly how their body's responding to it, how their body responds afterwards, how their body builds up on that. That I can see. That I can see a psychological level of. Um, by the way, I have not gone to college for this. This is just me doing a lot of research on it and trying to deal and cope and understand these people and what I'm dealing with. And like I said, my son's life depends on this. I'm not kidding. I will get my butt off this planet as fast as possible before he's 18. And I've warned them that there will be consequences if I'm not able to successfully do that, because they are preventing that as well. So it's been a nightmare. Oh, this is gonna be fun. Okay, so the thing I need you to understand is that when dealing with people with narcissistic personality disorder, their goal is to isolate their victim, their target, who they're after. They do things called campaigning. Normal campaigning can be as far as just telling flat out lies about shit, or turning things, twisting stories around to take a true story and switch it around so it kind of sounds worse and they did something worse or whatnot, things like that. Or they can trick you, they can befriend you and con you into doing things and take advantage of your good nature, or you feeling bad for them or doing something or wanting to be friends with them. They can trick you and con you into it, and then you feel bad because you're like, yeah, I did do that, yeah, I did. And there they are behind your back, gathering everybody they want, using it as ammunition against you. That's campaigning. They do things like that. Hey, I'm not a criminal here. They did it. They did it. I'm not the criminal. I didn't do it. I don't know what you're talking about. That's called campaigning. The level of campaigning that these motherfuckers are on is like a million times worse. It's been rough for me because part of their thing also is dehumanizing the hell out of me. And that's another thing that people with narcissistic personality like to do, because part of them is, if you look into psychologists, and I think Dr. Fox is probably a little bit more kind about this, but when you watch other people that talk about it, they basically, because they lack conscience usually, especially if they're psychopaths with it, they lack conscience with it. Let me rephrase that: psychopaths or sociopaths with it. They lack a conscience with it. They have no remorse. It's on a sliding scale with the narcissistic personality disorder. I've learned that, give or take how severe it is, you could be conscious, have some kind of feelings or shame or something, enough that pops up that you feel bad about what you're doing, or kind of don't want to do it, or stuff like that. There are those levels. Those are there. But mostly what I've been encountering is the people that have been head on are probably people that are psychopaths with narcissistic personality disorder. I've been in debates with them about the psychopathy levels, because they keep trying to call themselves borderlines. And I'm like, dude, you're not a borderline. You don't have BPD. You don't have it. You're not even on the 3% fucking thresh level of shit, which, thank God, Dr. Fox finally came up with a video and posted it comparing. And I believe, like I said, even on the 3% level, these were the do's and the don'ts when it comes down to a psychopathy level of shit that borderlines will do. Big difference. He goes into the reasonings why. And he goes in the reasons why, because it's not like, they're not psychopaths. It's like, they seem like psychopaths, but they're not psychopaths. And then it's not like, you're talking about like in a moment, in anger, in rage, in a fit, and shit like that. You're talking about triggers. You're talking about things like that. You, the idea is that people want to say you're like that all the time, and it's like, get your head out of your ass, please. But um, one of the things that this my situation has been called, and some like Dr. Grande has talked about targeted individuals. Um, he's calling it basically a group delusion or some mass hysteria version of a delusion. Um, he doesn't call it schizophrenia, and I don't know if he's like just not talking about all the other situations, like all the like when it gets worse and worse about shit. And honestly, I think it depends on your group and what they're doing and how they're doing it, on how much you know and how much you figure out along the way, and how bad they gaslight you. The worse they gaslight you, the dumber they want you to feel. Um, Especially when they finally blow it up. They want you to feel like the biggest, like, I already like struggled with this shit enough, but like, could you not like have enjoyed an insecurity point on me like even more? Or is it? Because like I already had enough problems like trying to figure myself out before, and like all that shit. Now it's like a million times worse. Um, so if you look into the information about targeted individual, they talk about somebody committed a crime, and then they got put on this, and thus it's legit. And they did something horrific, and so thus they deserve to be on here. So it's okay. It's not even remotely like that. My only crime, if I'm being realistic, which is like bullshit because I hate this. I hate saying this, but it's the honest God truth. I got born and I got adopted into a psychopathic family. That's what it comes down to. That's what I'm learning. I got born and I got adopted into a psychopathic family. I don't even call them my family anymore. Like I know I refer to them as my family, but to me, they're not family. I had a sperm donor and an egg donor, and then I got adopted by assholes that don't mind sex trafficking, don't mind supporting it, don't mind pedophiles, support pedophiles, protect pedophiles, and will scapegoat someone to protect everybody else in the family so that they can get away with what they want to get away with. So, yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to. Like I said, I'm holding out on going into all my crazy fucking details that everybody's already gonna be like, oh my god, yeah. When you get gaslit on this level, the point is for you to look as unstable as possible. You are to look psychotic, you are to look deranged, you are to look crazy, you are supposed to look that way, and that is what narcissistic personality disorder people want. That is their goal. I've been thrown into hospitals as excuses for this shit. I'm pretty sure it's illegal. I haven't looked into it. I'm pretty sure it's illegal for you to throw somebody into a mental institution when they're not literally mentally unwell. They're being gaslit. They're being fucked with. I mean, they probably need help, but the reason why they're getting help is not for help. Because nobody's going to listen. They don't listen. They don't believe you. You're crazy. That's just the way it is. The level that they have this on is that bad. So, to pull my Harry Potter shit out, to all you delusional bitches that believe whatever lies they're telling you about shit, I must not tell lies. Okay, Professor Umbridge, I must not tell lies. Okay. You protect that fudge. I remember Voldemort's working behind the scenes on top of it, so just because you got told one thing, they're telling you one thing, Voldemort's still behind the scenes, doing something way worse with a way bigger plan and way worse than whatever this shit is. But one of the things that they've tried to convince me of is mental illnesses are not a real thing. The personality disorders are not a real thing, which fall in the DSM-5 and are discussed as, even though they're personality disorders, because they come with surface level content, are mental illnesses. They have core content too. These things add up. Um, they're things you have to work on. There are things that you need medication for. Most of the time, sometimes there's few people that luck out that don't need it. There are a few people that find themselves working on it and then may need medication later on. I mean, this is there's nothing to be ashamed about with needing medication. The big thing they've been trying to convince me of is mental illnesses did not exist until this. They started off small. Like schizophrenia was the big one that we're on right now. I don't care how many years back you've heard about people talking about it. I don't care if it's going on in the 1800s. Schizophrenia did not pop up until apparently this shit popped up, is what I'm supposed to say. Or did it? And we really are. No, you're not. You've had obviously people that have been able to break into my home where I stay, put shit in my car, steal shit in my car. They smashed my phone. I posted some shit on Facebook and they came by while I was shit-faced drunk and passed out, and they knew I was shit-faced drunk and passed out, and smashed my phone and left my phone in the middle of my console while I was sleeping in the back of my car. Perfectly set. Where normally I wouldn't have had it. My guess, if I passed out drunk, I would have had it either in the passenger seat, where I would have dropped it, or in the back seat with me. But in the middle console, and you can, I can't show you, but it's obviously, dented in where it was smashed in. It's ridiculous. But it still works, it still functions, so it's cool. So I pissed some people off. I don't care. So like I was saying, they also tried to claim that borderline personality disorder doesn't exist without this shit. That it didn't come about and get recognized until the 1980s, acknowledged into the DSM-5 until the 1980s. Hey, guess what? Pedophilia has been around since God knows how long, dawn of time. I mean, come on. But, here we are, still working on shit, and my argument is, it's been there. It's been there. We just aren't looking. We've been assholes about shit. We've been egotistical about our shit, and people are coming along, people who give a fuck, and they're noticing a different pattern that people with their arrogant and egotistical fucking minds and their narcissistic fucking ways just didn't want to look at. They wanted to put it all in a box and make it as easy as possible. And yet, the reality check is, oh no, people who actually care are coming along and saying that there's different patterns. I must get on this bandwagon and cover my fucking ass. So they found different ways to go about it to cover their asses. And some of the excuses that I'm dealing with these days is, well, it's a change in times. Well, of course it's a change in times. It's the same thing that goes with personality disorders. Personality disorders, although the core and how they are and things you need to meet for them would be the same no matter what, from what we're looking at, what we've come up with, a personality disorder may not quite come across the same way that we would recognize in the 1800s, unless it was a grandiose version of it. And even then, with narcissistic personality, coverts are very fucking hard to spot. And already society back then and the way we were growing and how our lifestyles were back then were completely different. The way we talked, the way we approached each other, our manners that were expected of each other, and how we talked and how we presented ourselves. All of it completely different. But here we are in another age where we're more high tech and things are getting way worse. So to you Professor Umbridges out there, I must not tell lies. To you Fudges The next one's up. Go fuck yourselves, because I must not tell lies.